Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel and to the 11th, again, I think it's the 11th, video in the Hobbit series. This one's called When the Thrush Knocks by Blobz. And just as a little bit of intro, this will be the second time I try this puzzle. The first time I tried it, I saw something that I thought could possibly be a little bit of a sticking point in this puzzle. And when I just barely got into the puzzle, I realized that I could not solve the puzzle because what I thought was something that I needed to do was something I needed to do. And I didn't do it, therefore I got myself into a point where there was no solution. So, that said, I'm not going to tell you what that was until we get into the actual solve. So, if you want to go about this puzzle by yourself without any hints or any of the intro information, go ahead and do that right off the bat, and then I'll get into the rest of it in a bit. But anyway, with that said, let's start looking at this guy, see what the little blurb at the beginning is, and then all the rule sets. So again, I think I just said this, but I've been blabbing here. So when the thrush knocks, stand by the gray stone when the thrush knocks, and the setting sun will with the last light of Durin's day will shine upon the keyhole. Evening was coming on. Then suddenly, when their hope was lowest, a red ray of the sun escaped like a finger through a rent in the cloud. A gleam of light came straight through the opening into the bay and fell on the smooth rock face. So they are on the side of the mountain here, as you know, waiting for the last lights of Durin's day to show them the keyhole, which it now has done. I was going to say at Durin's door, but I don't think this is Durin's door. This is just a side door. It's not really a named door. I think the Durin's door was actually the one the lake monster destroyed. But anywho, I just keep babbling random stuff right now. Let's jump into the rules, see what's going on. So it's normal Sudoku. So every row, column, and 3x3 box will contain the digits 1 through 9 once each. Now, begin by filling in the boat cells in box 7 to correspond digits from the previous puzzle. I will do this and go into a further explanation once I get into the solve. So if you want to, again, go look at what you did and fill in how you think it should be, and then go right for it. Then we have an X separates digits that sum to 10. So we've got a ton of X's in this puzzle. So these guys will all add to 10. A black dot separates digits where one is double the other. So that's Kropki's. So this guy here, these guys will be in a 2-to-1 ratio, or one of them will be double the other. Then we have the main rule set here, I guess we'll say, that as the sun sets in the west, a shaft of light will break through the clouds from one of the marked cells in column 1 to form a straight line in that row, illuminating the keyhole in the cliff wall in column 8. So one of these spots here, there's going to be a ray of light that shines from here, and it hits the cliff wall where it's going to be showing us where the keyhole is. Starting from column 1 and ending in column 8, digits along this shaft of light increase as they move towards the keyhole. So this will act like a thermo. So this will be the lowest digit. This will be the highest digit. The remaining 4 cloud cells will contain odd digits. So only one of these cloud cells will be where the ray of light comes through. The rest of them will stay as clouds and will therefore be odd digits. And we need to figure out where the ray of light is coming from. Now, the secret door in the Mountainside is in column 8, is 3 cells in length and centered on the keyhole, and contain the digits that sum to 24. So let's use this guy. If this was the one we said was going to be the ray of light, this will be the keyhole. The door itself will be 3 cells centered on the keyhole. So it'd be like this. And then these 3 digits, which are part of the door, will add to 24. So those are all the rules. Link to this one and all the previous puzzles, of course, are in the description below as always. Go back, do those. I say this every time, but go back, do those puzzles first. Go watch my videos first, all that kind of good stuff. Get yourself caught up and then start. So with that said, let's get started on this one. And here's where I have the caveat. And if you want to do this puzzle by yourself and just look at it and see if you can figure it out, pause the video here, go do your thing, and then come back if you have any issues. So Enough of a break? Good. We're all good now. Okay, so here's little bits of spoilers, I guess. When I first did this puzzle, the boats here, and I did notice there was something about these boats, but I just didn't use that information in any way, shape, or form. So if you look at the original puzzle or the previous puzzle, and you just think about, well, there's boats in that puzzle, they have a certain group of digits, they're going from left to right, and you put those in here like that, you're going to break the puzzle because that's not what you're supposed to do. I found out that the hard way. So, and then I sent a note to Blobz on this one just to verify that was the case, because I didn't want to have to go through completely do the puzzle like that and then find out that's not the case either. But there is an interesting little bit that you have to deal with here. So this is kind of part of the reasoning of this puzzle, which is probably why it has a slightly higher difficulty rating of 3 as well. But anyway, the point remains that the digits in the previous puzzle, Lake Town, are in order from left to right in that previous puzzle, 2, 7, 4. But if you look at the orientation of the boats, you'll notice there's a difference between that puzzle and this puzzle. And you have to correlate that back to this puzzle. So instead of reading from left to right, you have to look at what the boats' orientations are. Now, the 2 was in this orientation, the 7 was in this orientation, and the 4 was in this orientation. So again, if you went through it and just said, oh, it's 2, 7, 4, like I did originally, you're going to have this backwards. These are 4, 7, 2 instead. Now, that could just be like a perspective thing, what have you, maybe, I guess, if you can think about it in that way. I'm not sure the reasoning necessarily why that was set that way, or is it just potentially was just supposed to be a little trip up there or not, but that's the case. Anyway, excuse me. With all that said, now let's start moving to see if we can figure out how to solve this puzzle, which is going to be completely fresh for me now because I put them in the other way and it completely broke everything. So, first things were, if you look at this Kropki here, what can it actually be? Well, 3 and 6. It can't be 1, 2, can't be 2, 4, can't be 4, 8. Now, if you look at this guy, he has to be from the 1, 2, 4, 8 because it can't be a 3, 6. You have to be from the 1, 2, 4, 8, can't be a 3, 6. And that's about as far as anything that I had done the first time matters at this point. So we're going to have to start thinking, how do we start finding where our ray comes through? Because one of these is going to be the ray. So the parting of the clouds, if you will, and then the beam of light. Well, can this one ever be that beam of light? Because if it is, again, we have to think about this in terms of it will be a thermo, and where it shines, the 3 digits that are centered on that spot will have to add to 24. Well, this position for a door will never work because these have to add to 10. The 10 says it right there. So this would have to be a 14. Can't be. So this can't ever be where the ray of light comes from. So it's 1, 3, 5, and 9. It has to be an odd digit. Can't be 7. Now the question is going to be, can we do anything else to determine where this ray of light comes from at this stage? And that's a good question. So what we could start doing is thinking about, if we were to start these guys in one of these positions, how would the values of the thermo that's left over work? Because if you think about it, let's just do the example of a thermo from here to here. Well, it's 8 cells long, so it only has 2 options. And this will filter through into every one of these lines where it could be. Now, if we see on this guy right here, we instantly are put into the point of we can't put a 5 on a 10 clue. So in this particular instance, this would be the 4, 6. And that would cause this situation to occur. Now, this isn't possible, because if you just look at this 10 clue, we know this cannot have a 3 on it. So the 7 can't pair with the 3, so this can't work. So that's one option down. You are not it. Because we have X clues up here, let's go up here and see if this one could work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're already starting to see some restrictions here as well. You can't be a 5. You would be a 4, which means you have to be a 5. This again would still be 6, 7, 8, 9 in that order. Now, do we have any restrictions here to be able to maybe eliminate this as an option? Let's think about it. I think we do. Well, actually, this can't be a 2, can it? Let's think about how this would work. If this was a 2, well, this would have to be a 1. So this would have to be a 2-4 pair, but this is a 4. So this couldn't ever be a 2, which means this would be a 4. That would push this to be a 6 and this to be a 6. Then I guess that would mean this would be a 6 as well, but I don't think that will cause any problems. Not that I can see. So I don't know that we can rule this version out now. So let's step back from there. This one has survived the battle. Now these two, I think, don't have any real restrictions to them, because if we go down that line again of what these could be, we're obviously going to put an 8 into one of these two. You would always get into a 9s here. Now, there's no restrictions by the X clues for any of those, though. And what else does that then say for us? I don't know that there is anything it says. So maybe this is not the route we need to be taking. Maybe there's something else we need to put into some of these spaces that will start to eliminate options. So I want to take another second just to think about this, though. I think in every instance, though, what we're saying is that one of these will be an 8, one of these will be a 9. Because we said in here, we're forcing this to be the 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's always going to be an 8 and a 9, no matter which one of these 3 we put here. So that's something to think about. Of what use is it? I don't think I know. Yeah, I don't see anything there that's going to tell us what's what. Now, obviously, if this one was the spot we're using, this couldn't be an 8 on it, because the 8 would go here, and then we'd have to have a 2, etc., etc., but we don't know that yet. Okay, so I don't see anything there right now. Let's try to think about some of these other clues where maybe we have something to work with. Let's go back to these 10 clues maybe. Because if that's a 1, that's a 9. If it's a 2, it's an 8. If it's a 4, it's a 6. If it's an 8, it's a 2. These will be the same thing here. And does that tell us anything about some of these other groupings? Maybe we need to get into this guy here. Although I don't think this really tells us anything either. Does it? Doesn't appear to. The only thing I can think of that here that we have a restriction on is we couldn't ever have a 3-7 and a 6-4, but of what value does that really give us? I don't think it gives us much of anything. Because you could always have one of the two. Obviously, you can't do that because you'd break this, but these could be a 3, 7 with a 1, 9 or something like that, and that wouldn't break this. Do we think about these 4 digits then in some way? And maybe that propagates itself? Because there are 1, 5, 8, and 9. Now, obviously, this can't be a 5. Which forces this to be 9, 1, or 2. Again, what does that actually tell us? Well, it tells us one of these is a 9, 1, or an 8, 2, but not exactly the most informational group of digits there. And I don't think we know anything about these guys either, because they could very well be a 1, 2, and a 4, 8, or anything from the 1, 2, 4, 8 and a 3, 6. Now, of course, we can make some reductions, like this can't be a 6 or an 8. This can't be a 3 then. But other than that, I don't feel like there's a whole lot there either. So maybe I'm just missing something else that's going to get us moving. Now, of course, if this was the ray of light, this would be a 2. Is there something maybe about that 8, 9 over here that we also had over here? I don't think there was, because I don't think we were forced to put a 1 in any of these other guys. Were we? No, because there was no real restriction to these two at all. Now, obviously, now if this one, if we think about it, this one, because it can't have the 3, this would be the 2, 1, but and we can't make any reductions here until we figure out where the actual ray of light goes. 3, 5, 7, 9. I mean, I guess it's possible these are all of the odd digits. Because it only says that the remaining 4 clouds contain odd digits. The one with the ray of light could technically have an even digit of a 2. I guess that means that there are 6s and 8s in these 3 cell locations. To what value does that give us again? I don't quite know. So we have, goodness gracious, almost couldn't get the words out there. So we have to figure out some way to restrict this thing a little bit. I don't see how to do it. You could be 9, 8, 7, or 6. Well, not 7, sorry. You can't be a 3. I missed that option. Okay, this just can't. Why didn't I see that? I don't know why. So this has to be from the 1, 2, 4, 8 grouping. But we don't know which one is which because we're not guaranteed to have one of these digits, which then doesn't necessarily correlate back to this. Because this could be 1, 2, or 4, 8. Is there any restriction to either one of those? This was 1, 2. Maybe this guy is just a 3, 6. Let's try to figure that out if we can. What would happen if this was a 1, 2? Well, this would be, well, this could be an 8 or a 9, couldn't it? If it was the 1 here, the 2 here, and the 9 here, this could still be a 4, 8. But if this was the 2 and this was the 1, this would be the 8, so this would have to be a 3, 6. Now, if it's a 2, 4, this couldn't ever be the 4, because it would force this to be a 6 and this would be broken. But I think this could still be a 6 if this was a 4 and this was an 8. Yeah, it could, because this could just be a 1-2 pair. One of these is going to be a 5. But that doesn't tell us anything. I don't think there's anything on the 5s we could do. There's not enough restrictions there. Like one of these 3 will be. But one of those 3. Most of this, yeah. Okay, I gotta find something to get going. I'm not missing any rules, right? I think it's all pretty straightforward. Yeah, it's just this. Figuring out where this thing comes through is going to get us moving in the right direction. We got to figure out what the heck that is. Now, if we can get rid of this as an option, we could probably start tailoring this guy down to what can and can't occur. Because then we'd be at least be pushing our ray of light into this, starting in this one region. But again, we've said we can't make that necessarily occur here. Because we can figure out a way to make this work. Do we start looking at what these can be? Maybe there's something else in, maybe there's like some grouping that goes on here. 1, 3, 6, 8, and 9. That's not going to be any good, right? 9, 7, 4, 2, and 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it's just, again, it's just where does a 5 go? One of those 3 is still an option. That's not helpful. This is not going to give us anything. These aren't going to give us anything as far as I can tell. Unless there's some like base mathematical. No, there's not going to be. I was going to say, like, what if this was a 1, 2 and this was a 3, 6? That would be the least we could possibly do in value-wise of all this, but it's 12 right there, but you can always have this be a 9 if this was the 1, 2. So you'd be at 11. So these guys... Well, that doesn't work, does it? Does it? Let's think about that a little further. If you put a 1, 2 and a 3, 6, that is 12. The most you can ever put here is 9. No, it's 20. Why did I say 11? 21. You need 20. Yeah, you can make that work. Okay. I'm just... bleh. Brain's not working there for a second. One of these has to be a 5. I'm looking at here, but that's not telling us much. One of those. I'm not seeing where to get into this thing. That's where my problem here is. I thought the last puzzle we did was the hardest, but this one I can't even seem to get going on. That's never a good sign. How the heck do we start this thing? Is there more we can do here that I just missed? Can this be it? 3, 2. Yeah, this could be a 3, 2, 1. This could be a 4, 8. This would have to be the 4. This would be the 8. That would be a 6. I don't think this is telling me anything, but... because even if I remove that as an option, there's still more options this could be. I've just got to run down this for a second, see if I can break something. This couldn't be one. Yeah, that would break this, because this would have nowhere to go now. So it can't be that. So this can never be a 3 if it was the ray of light. But this would, what if it's a 4? Let's just go down that line, because that would force this to be a 1-2 pair. No, that would break 2. Okay. Well, there's a little ray of hope. Huh? I know, terrible joke. Yeah, because if this is a 3, we break this because of what it does here. If this is a 4, well, this has to be a 1-2 that breaks this. This can never be the ray. You're out. So it's one of you two. Can it? Let's go through this option as well. We don't have this guy going on, but maybe it's enough that we can eliminate you. So again, this would have to be a 2. This would have to be a 1. That would have to be a 4. That would have to be a 6. Yeah, it does break this. Huh. Wow. Wish I had looked at that earlier. Because what can this be now? It can't be anything. Can't be 1, 2, can't be 2, 4, can't be 4, it can't be 3. Okay. Well, there we go. This is not it. This is our ray of light. Okay. Thank goodness we needed one at this point. So, what do we say this? I think we said this had to just be something given then. This could be 1, 2. This could be 2, 3. 3, 4. And let's actually just mark this. We'll put a red or a yellow circle with the ray of light like that. We said 4, 5, 5, 6. This would have to be 6. 4. This would have to be 5. 7, 8, 9. Now we also know that this is a door centered on the keyhole. So this, we know that, I never said it, but we know they had 24, so they have to be 9, 8, 7. So this will be a 7. This will be an 8. And that's going to set off a lot of stuff. So let's go through all this stuff. Let's do our cleanup. Get moving on this thing. You're not 9 or 8. That's the kind of the minor of all of this stuff. 7 means you are 3, you are 6. You have a 2 on you. You're a 2 or a 3. I think we said this couldn't be a 2, didn't we? Yeah, because if it was a 2, this would be a 1, this would have to be a 4. So you are the 3, 6, 4. Okay, you can't be a 6, which means you can't be a 4, which means you can't be an 8. And this is either a 1 or a 2, and it can't be a 2, because this would have to be an 8. You're a 1. 9. You are a 2, 4 pair. You are a 5. Hoobity doobity. This has to be a 1, 2 pair now, because a 2, 4 will break this. Okay, we're moving now, which means you are 4, you are 2. You're not 2. You're not 8. 1, 2, blah, 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 blah. You have to be either a 1 or a 4, which means you can't be a 1. You can't be a 9. Again, let's try to do more obvious cleanup. You guys don't have 1s in them, so you can't be a 1, 9. You are a 2, 8. That removes the 8s from you. This is a 1, 5, 9 triple. You don't have a 2 in you, so you don't have an 8 in you. Okay. Now, let's refocus. You're a 6, so you're not, which means you're not a 4. And 1 or 2 with the 8 or 9, 1 or 2 with the 1, 2 or 4. There's always a 2 on this thing, but I don't think that tells us a whole lot. Do we start filling in some blanks here now? Like I don't think this is going to help us too much, is it? We know one of these will be a 9. We need to put a 3 somewhere. It could go anywhere. We need to put a 7 somewhere. It could go in any of those places. Okay. There's something else there too. 6s and 9s as well. But we already know 9 is down here. 6 could have been anywhere. So nothing worthwhile, I should say, at the moment. Let's go back to here. Can't be 6, 4, can't be 7, 3. So it's either a 9, 1 or an 8, 2. You can't be 2, so you can't be 8. This is not a 5. So one of you two is. 1, 3, 5, 7s and 9s. We still don't. Oh, wait, the 1 says this is the 2. Okay. Now, we need to put a 6 in this column. It goes here. Perfect. That gives us our 9 and our 1 and our 2 and our 8. This is 9. This is 5 and 1. You're not a 9, 1. You are a 7, 3. This is just breaking right apart right now. This is a 2, 8. Wish we had looked at those earlier. What are you 3 digits? 1, 3, and 9. This is the 1, because of you. This is the 9, this is the 3. What are you 2 digits? 1 and 8. Don't quite know. What are you 3? 2, 4, 5, 5, 7, 9. You're not 7. 5, 7, 9, 2. Where does the 8 go in the column? Because this now is all of the odds. So this is the 8 and the 1. Okay. What about you 3? Because we might be able to correlate that back. 4, 5, and 8. Yeah, we can just do that. This can't be 5 or 8, so it's 4, 6, 3, 6. You are the 8. You are the 5. You're not a 5. You're not a 3. This is a 1, 9, 8 triple, and it can't be a 1. So it's 8, 9. You are the 1. You're not. We know there's a 3 on here, but that doesn't currently tell us much. You're not 9, though. Okay, what are you 2? 3 and 4. We can just do that. 3, 4. You two have to be from 7 and 5. We can do that. You're a given of 6, it appears to be. What about you guys? 1, 2, 3, and 5. And 7 and 4. Okay. 3, 5, 7. No, let's think about what you can be. You cannot be 8, 2. Cannot be 6, 4. I think that's the only reductions. It could be 7, 3. It could be 9, 1 in certain positions. Can't be 6, 4, obviously, because we have both 4s looking at it. And we have a 6. It can't be 8, 2. You're not 3 or 1. You're not 7 or 9. Nothing across. Let's go up on these guys, because they're givens, right? 4 and 5. Yeah, 4, 5. What are these 3? 1, 3, and 6. You're not 6, so you are. I guess that's already, we're done with 6s then. I probably should just go down Sudoku, but let's do these guys next. 7, 9, and 2. You're not 9. Okay, let's go down the Sudoku road. I don't know that we're going to find anything necessarily, but there could be something sitting right there waiting for us. Doesn't hurt to look at it. 3 is no. Oh wait, the 5 here. Didn't see him. These are not 5. 9s I meant. One of these two will be a 9. One of those is a 3, 5, 7, 8, 9. Oh, then the 9 just comes back to the 8. That's what it was. 8, 2, not 2. These are a 1, 4 pair. 1, 2, 3. Is there anything just a given on one of these rows? 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 7s. No. Oh, cool. What else can we then say? The 8 says you're 9. And you guys have to be from 5, 7, and 8. This is not 8, which means you are. Okay. If I had gone down Sudoku and continued the process, I would have found that probably, but one of you two is a 9, one of you two is a 9. Okay, we got to figure out how to finalize this now. Where are we? One of these rows or columns is going to do it, and it's you. You can't be anything but a 1 anymore. No 1, no 1, no 1, no 1, no 1. No, no, no. You're 1. Which means you're 9. Which means you're not. And that should hopefully break something open here. Yeah, because it's a 3, 5, 7. This becomes the 4, 7, 2, 7, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3 here, 5, 4, 3, 5, 7. And we can just place these rest of these guys. Good. Let's do this first 5, 7, then we'll finish off with our cloudy skies. You're a 3, you are the 9, and you are the 5. Hey, we did it. We solved the puzzle. Solution is correct. I don't know if that was the easiest of them all. I guess if you really started to dig into this thing first with the orientational of these, you could probably get through it pretty good. And then start to think about this in correlation to how those worked as well. And then you can get into it. Certainly took me, I think it took me like 20 minutes or more than that of just trying to find the place to start. And then after that, it just kind of took off. So fun puzzle. I know there's going to be some comments about this. I'm curious to see what people say about it in the orientation of it. I'm also curious to see if Blobz jumps in and gives some information about that, about why it was done that way. But anyway, we got through it again. It felt like 2 weeks in a row we were going to struggle to get anywhere, but we got through it. So anyway, another good puzzle. I love all the concept of these guys. They're always working out quite well. Can't wait to get into the next one of this now. I kind of want to just do it right now, but I try to hold off for a second, let myself digest these puzzles before trying the next ones in the set. But anyway, hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff, and we'll see you in the next adventure. See you later.